Hi, I'm Chuck Colson with this week's 2-Minute Warning. Every now and again I have an aha moment. Such a moment came recently as I was preparing to tape a lecture for folks gathered in Oxford, England for the C.S. Lewis Summer Institute. Throughout his writings, C.S. Lewis talked about the Tao, that is the moral order of things, or what today we would call natural law. He saw with such clarity what would happen if mankind abandoned the Tao and embraced relativism. He saw that we would jettison traditional morality and in the process become enslaved to our own passions and the passions of others. And this he predicted as far back as the 1930s in The Poison of Subjectivism. Amazing. Now, as I was preparing for this lecture at the height of the political chaos surrounding the deficit and raising the debt ceiling and all the brouhaha that's been going on in Washington, I couldn't believe how far our economic and political system had fallen. How was it that all of a sudden the United States, which has the safest currency in the world and the strongest economy in the world, was absolutely shaking? We don't have long before the debt payment will reach a percentage of the gross domestic product that makes it impossible for us to maintain our ratings with Moody and Standard & Poor's. And if we get any slight increase in interest rates, it's Katie bar the door because we won't be able to pay the debt. But folks, it's not just us. The same thing has been happening in Ireland, in Spain, in Italy, in Portugal, and of course in Greece. And when any government tries to cut spending, what do we get? Riots in the streets. So as I was reading Lewis and watching the shenanigans on Capitol Hill, it hit me. What we're witnessing around the world is the terrifying manifestation of what Lewis saw coming when people lose their respect for the Tao, for the natural moral law we all learn to live with, and begin to look for their own interest only. Is it possible that what's happening in free societies is exactly that? We're so focused on ourselves, so determined to get what we're entitled to, so absorbed with our own desires and interests that we can't see the greater good of community? Tocqueville believed that the great cardinal virtue that dominated American life was the idea of civic duty. That's basically gone today. It's disappeared. And it's the inevitable consequence of rampant individualism, what one sociologist famously called ontological individualism. It defines us. Free societies can't survive, however, if people aren't willing to take care of their own responsibilities and if they're concerned only with themselves and not with their neighborhood and their state and their nation. We're dealing with the consequence of false ideas being lived out in the advanced societies of the world. Tragic to watch, isn't it? Now, the job of the church, of course, is to show a better way, to show that we, even as unique individuals made in the image of God, were made for community, to show our neighbors how to roll up our sleeves and pitch in for the good of the communities in which we live. In other words, we need to show others how to love our neighbors as ourselves, which, after all, is the heart of the gospel and at the heart of the Tao that Lewis talked about. And it's the only hope for our nation and for the West. Can we do it? Well, this is precisely why I, along with Robbie George of Princeton, produced a 6-part DVD series on ethics, Doing the Right Thing. This series draws heavily on Lewis and his assessment of relativism, but not just what's wrong with relativism, but rather how we defeat it and how we restore character and civic virtue in American life. Please, it's important. Go to colsoncenter.org and order Doing the Right Thing for yourself, your small group, your business, your church. Also, you can go to another website, doingtherightthingevent.com, where you can find out about a national simulcast explaining the new series, which will be held on September 24th with people signing up across the country. Please sign up. It'll be a great introduction to this project. I'm Chuck Colson. That's this week's 2-Minute Warning.